February 21st, 2010. This interview brought to you by the revolutionary anti-imperialist movement. For Black History Month, we're interviewing Steve. Steve is a veteran black revolutionary. He's been active in one form or another since the 70s. He was a member of the Black Panther Party, and today he works alongside RAIM in Denver, Colorado. Hello, Steve. How are you?
Okay, I'm all right.
Well, Steve, you've been an activist for decades now. Can you tell us a little bit about your own history and your experience with the Panthers?
Yeah, I started messing around the Panthers when I was in high school, and kept doing that after I left high school for 5-6 years. When I saw the party degenerating politically and organizationally, I left that organization to work with other black revolutionary, black radical groups in the western U.S. and in the South.
You mentioned that the Black Panthers degenerated. When would you say was the high point of the Black Panther Party, and when did that degeneration start to happen?
Okay, well, I would say that the high point of the party was probably in 1969 through 1970. I think based on my reading and my knowledge of the Panther history, that was when the influence was greatest in the United States. During that time, J. Edgar Hoover declared the Black Panther Party the greatest threat to the internal security of the United States. You had the free breakfast program, the free medical clinics. You had the Black Panther newspaper being sold nationwide. You even had an international branch of the Black Panther Party set up in Algiers, run by then Minister of Information, Eldridge Cleaver. So we had a presence internationally and a presence nationally. So I would say those years, 68 through 70, was the high point of the party. As far as the degeneration of the party politically, after 70, 71, COINTELPRO definitely, I feel, was used as part of the political degeneration of the party. You had Huey Newton developing this theory called intercommunalism, which denied the existence of nations because of imperialist penetration. And while that seemed like it's a very advanced concept, what it led the Panthers to do was to deny the importance of national liberation movements. Part of this degeneration also coincided with the meeting of Richard Nixon with Mao Zedong in China. So we also saw that same kind of political degeneration and opportunism on the international front, right when the Vietnamese people were still fighting their heroic war of national liberation, or war against imperialist aggression by the U.S. imperialists.
You mentioned that as part of their degeneration, the Panthers started to abandon national liberation. Did this coincide with the Panthers going into reformist activities?
It coincided 100% with the Panthers going into reformist activities. There was essentially no legitimate anti-imperialist kernel left within the organization. You had people who had been with the party from 1968, 67, 69, 70 still in existence, but at that time you had the so-called East Coast faction had split off and had begun to work independently, working in conjunction with groups like the Black Liberation Army, etc. So that wing of the party was gone. You had the murder of not Fred Hampton, but of George Jackson in San Quentin. So that revolutionary kernel had been defeated, or had been eliminated by COINTELPRO or other forces. So you had more emphasis on electing Lionel Wilson to be mayor of Oakland, or Bobby Seale, mayor of Oakland, and Elaine Brown or Erica Hudgens to certain positions in the Oakland City Council. The more emphasis on running the Oakland Community Learning Center and the Oakland Community School, ways of getting grant money, etc., for the Oakland infrastructure instead of establishing and renewing a revolutionary position for anti-imperialist struggle in the early 1970s. And that was the basic time that you saw a consolidation of a reformist line within the party's leadership, through the Panther newspaper, as well as the de-emphasis of the writings and work of Mao Zedong, and more emphasis on reading books like Mario Puzo's The Godfather, and establishing a gangster mentality within the leadership of the party.
Now, you've mentioned that the leadership of the party had problems. Now, the Black Panther Party was known to have a cult of personality around Huey P. Newton. Was that a big part of the problem?
It certainly was, but essentially what happened when you had the East Coast wing of the party splitting off, caused by political struggle and possibly by COINTELPRO itself. You had this colored personality developing around Huey Newton. He was called the supreme servant of the people, etc., etc. Remember that Newton had spent a lot of time in prison, in solitary confinement, and the men's colony in San Luis Obispo. Some people said he was either co-opted or maybe had mental problems coming out of prison. I don't know. But when he came out, there definitely was an emphasis of Huey Newton as the great leader, as opposed to Huey Newton being a fighter for the liberation of black people.